Quiet room, half light. Smoke drifts like a held breath. Good evening. No applause needed. Just a nod. A pause. A look that lingers a second longer than comfort allows. You feel that pressure in the chest, because this moment already knows your name. Camera tightens. Shadows carve your outline. The air hums. Someone unseen is evaluating you. Not hype, not noise. Assessment. A photograph slid across a steel table. A commander who has watched men freeze and men rise. Eyes trained to read micro-movements. Posture. Stillness under threat. No speech. No explanation. Just a hand lifting before thought could interfere. You did not hear the room go quiet. You were not there. Yet the decision happened anyway. Because some faces carry signal. Some silence transmits intent. Right there is the first lesson hiding in plain sight. Silence is a weapon. You grew up believing power announces itself. Wrong theater. Real power moves without asking for permission from noise. Early days trained you to perform strength. Later days trained you to conserve it. The world scans constantly, not for talent, for composure under ambiguity. Smoke curls again. The lens pulls back. Half-light sharpens your jaw. You learned restraint the hard way. Every time chaos demanded reaction, you practiced delay. Every time emotion begged for expression, you chose calibration. That discipline changed your frequency. Strategic minds notice frequency before words. Predators notice posture before volume. Leaders notice stillness before skill. A hand rises, not because of bravado, because of containment. Containment means options. Options mean dominance. Early momentum builds quietly. No drums, no slogans. You stand where pressure accumulates. Others talk their way out of discomfort. You stay. Breathing slows. Vision widens. Calm is armor. Armor does not shout. Armor absorbs. The room where decisions matter never rewards panic. It rewards those who understand timing as a form of violence and patience as a form of control. Slow zoom, a map on the wall. Markers without names. You recognize the pattern even without context. This is not about heroics. This is about reliability inside uncertainty. Darkness arrives wearing a different costume. Not evil, not chaos. Darkness as strategy. The absence of unnecessary movement, the refusal to leak intention, the ability to disappear emotionally while remaining fully present. That is when the tone shifts, the voice lowers, the tempo tightens. People fear unpredictability because they confuse it with randomness. Precision hides inside unpredictability when discipline sets the rules. The beast steps back before precision. You learned when to pull energy inward, muscle memory adjusted, ego trimmed. Every time the room expected a reaction, it received nothing. Every time noise surged, you countered with clarity. That gap between expectation and response became your territory. Tension builds, release, tension again. Here's the uncomfortable truth few teach. Visibility is optional. Effect is mandatory. A commander does not raise a hand for charisma. He raises it for signal integrity. Signal integrity means alignment under stress. Values matching behavior. Eyes steady while stakes rise. Smoke thickens. Light cuts across one eye. You are measured against people louder than you. People faster to speak. People eager to prove. They burned energy. You stored it. That storage becomes leverage. Leverage changes hierarchy without announcements. The shift arrives quietly. A nod from across the table, a door opening without explanation. You crossed a threshold without ceremony. Rule extracted cleanly. Control the internal state before attempting to control outcomes. Mindset shift locked in place. Darkness is not rage. Darkness is restraint, sharpened into advantage. Principle carved into muscle. Unpredictability guided by discipline, multiplies authority. The pacing tightens again, breath audible, heartbeat measured. This is where many break character. They rush, they celebrate early. You remain neutral. Neutral is lethal. Neutral keeps opponents guessing. Neutral keeps allies calm. Neutral preserves optionality. Optionality equals power. Another layer slides into view. Transformation without spectacle. You stopped asking to be chosen. Your presence forced selection. You stopped signaling hunger. Your discipline signaled readiness. Dominance does not seek spotlight. Spotlight chases dominance. The room adapts to you. Voices lower. Decisions slow. That is psychological gravity. The camera circles. No soundtrack. Just breath and tension. Retention comes from truth, delivered without decoration. You operate in the margins others ignore. Micro decisions, fractional delays, tone management. This is where outcomes tilt. A subtle teaser whispers between lines. Systems favor those who master internal order before external conquest. Those systems reward patience with access. Smoke thins, light stabilizes. The hand that rose stays raised in memory, a signal without explanation. You already know why. Silence sharpened, calm fortified. The beast held in reserve. No applause, no release, just sustained pressure, disciplined presence, and the quiet certainty that rooms adjust around forces they cannot predict, yet instinctively respect. The room does not relax, it recalibrates. You notice it in the micro-adjustments, chairs angled toward you, without intention. Questions shorten, explanations become precise. Authority reorganizes itself around certainty. You never demanded it. That is why it arrives intact. Another layer descends. People assume dominance looks like pressure applied outward, a wrong vector. Dominance begins as pressure absorbed inward without distortion. That absorption trains the nervous system. While others spike, you flatten. While others rush, you refine. Stillness creates asymmetry. Asymmetry bends outcomes. Slow pan across the room. A screen flickers. Data streams past like weather. You read between numbers. Patterns emerge where others see noise. Noise excites crowds. Patterns guide operators. You learned early that reacting burns leverage. Waiting manufactures it. Every pause you held became a test you passed silently. Every test passed rewired perception. They stopped seeing potential. They started seeing inevitability. That is when darkness fully reframes itself. Dark is not menace. Dark is informational advantage, operating without broadcast, moving without rehearsal, deciding without leakage. You understood that transparency is a luxury, not a default. Information withheld multiplies impact. Another tension cycle tightens. Release comes as understanding, not relief. You are not calm because nothing threatens you. You are calm because threat has been studied, indexed, and filed. Fear dissolves when mapped. Others avoid the map. You draw it, every edge marked, every blind spot acknowledged. Acknowledgement converts danger into geometry. Geometry obeys rules. Rules obey preparation. Preparation obeys discipline. Discipline obeys identity. Identity, once fixed, becomes force. The camera holds. Half-light sharpens again. This is the moment people misread. They think transformation requires explosion. Transformation here is compression. Pressure inward. Mass condenses. A black hole does not announce. It bends everything nearby. Your presence begins to bend agendas. Timelines adjust. Excuses evaporate. Not because you threaten, because you outlast. Outlasting beats overpowering. Endurance is invisible dominance. You learn to pace ambition, to store aggression behind intention, to convert emotion into fuel, not exhaust. Exhaust dissipates, fuel compounds. Compounding changes trajectories quietly. Another principle surfaces without ceremony. Never spend power to prove you have it. Proof drains reserves. Reserves win wars. The room feels heavier now, not hostile. Serious. Serious environments select for those who do not need permission to be composed. You never asked permission to stay centered. You trained for it. Training replaced hope. Process replaced impulse. Impulse entertains. Process prevails. A glance exchanged across the table. A micro nod. Decision pathways reroute. This is dominance without theatrics. The Joker does not laugh here. He studies. Study precedes chaos. Chaos deployed selectively becomes strategy. Unpredictability returns. Not random, timed. Predictability is comfort. Unpredictability is control. You allow others to settle into assumptions. Then you move laterally. Lateral movement breaks models. Broken models produce hesitation. Hesitation creates openings. Openings decide outcomes. You never rush to exploit them. You let them widen. Widening favors the patient. Patience frightens impulsive minds. They cannot read you, so they project. Projection exposes weakness. Weakness becomes data. Data becomes leverage. Leverage shifts power without confrontation. The pacing slows further, almost uncomfortable. This discomfort filters. Only the composed remain attentive. Attention narrows. Retention spikes. Every word lands heavier because fewer are spoken. You mastered economy of motion, economy of speech, economy of reaction, waste removed, signal purified. Purified, signal travels farther. That is why the hand rose. Not for spectacle, for alignment. Alignment under pressure is rare currency. Rare currency buys access others never see. Access changes scale. Scale changes consequence. Consequence demands responsibility. Responsibility demands restraint. Restraint sharpens authority. Authority stabilizes chaos. Chaos managed becomes opportunity. Opportunity held becomes advantage. Advantage sustained becomes legacy. The smoke thins again. The lens tightens once more. You remain exactly where you are. Breathing even. Eyes level. No rush, no release. Just sustained presence. Strategic darkness. And the quiet momentum of a force that does not announce movement, yet continually reshapes the terrain around it. The terrain keeps shifting, yet you stay centered. That is not stubbornness. That is orientation. Orientation decides survival before skill ever gets a chance. You learn to orient under pressure. North fixed internally. External chaos reduced to variables. Variables invite calculation. Calculation replaces panic. Panic is expensive. You never paid retail for emotion. Another layer locks in. People chase intensity because they confuse it with effectiveness. Intensity burns fast. Effectiveness compounds quietly. You chose the quieter path. That choice confused spectators and unsettled rivals. Confusion creates hesitation. Hesitation fractures momentum. Momentum once fractured can be redirected. Redirection beats resistance. Water does not fight the blade. It moves around it. That understanding matured you early. Instead of opposing force head-on, you let force reveal its own imbalance. Every push overcommits somewhere. You watch for that somewhere. Watching is an active skill. It requires ego reduction. Ego wants to act. Mastery waits. Waiting sharpens timing. Timing multiplies precision. Precision decides outcomes long before contact. The camera drifts closer again. Breath steady, eyes unreadable. Unreadable does not mean empty. It means encrypted. Encryption protects intent until execution. Execution without leakage feels sudden to those outside the process. They call it luck. They call it instinct. They never see the preparation hidden beneath the surface. Preparation rewired your relationship with fear. Fear stopped being an alarm. It became a signal. Signals inform. Information empowers. Empowerment grounded in restraint is dangerous in the best way. Danger here means capability without noise. Capability reshapes hierarchy organically. No coups, no confrontations, just gravity doing its work. The room feels it again, a subtle pull. Conversations adjust tempo. People choose words more carefully. Care is respect disguised as caution. Caution indicates awareness. Awareness confirms influence. Influence exercised quietly endures longer. Another mindset shift emerges, unforced. The loudest move is often doing nothing, nothing externally, everything internally. Internal calibration never stops. Breath, posture, attention. Attention is currency. You spend it intentionally. Most squander it on distractions designed to provoke reaction. You deny that economy. Denial starves manipulation. Starved manipulation collapses. Collapsing manipulation exposes truth. Truth clarifies decision paths. Decision paths shorten. Short paths reduce error. Reduced error increases trust. Trust accelerates responsibility. Responsibility amplifies authority. Authority without theatrics stabilizes systems. Systems favor stability under threat. That is why selection happens silently. No speech, no justification. Just a hand lifting before thought interferes. Because recognition bypasses language when alignment is clear, alignment shows in stillness. In the way you hold silence without discomfort. Discomfort reveals those untrained to sit with themselves. You sit easily. Ease under tension unsettles observers conditioned to equate stress with importance. Importance does not require tension, it requires clarity. Clarity sharpens boundaries. Boundaries protect energy. Protected energy sustains focus. Sustained focus bends probability. Probability bending feels like inevitability to those watching from the outside. Inevitability frightens chaotic minds. They look for cracks. They find none. Not because none exist, but because you already mapped them. Mapped weaknesses are neutralized before exposure. Neutralization without spectacle preserves mystery. Mystery extends influence. Influence without explanation grows. Growth without noise escapes resistance. Resistance never mobilizes against what it cannot define. You remain undefined on purpose. Defined roles get boxed. Undefined forces get room. Room enables maneuver. Maneuver decides leverage. Leverage shifts outcomes long before conflict surfaces. Conflict avoided through positioning counts as victory. Victory here does not celebrate. It accumulates. Accumulation compounds. Compounding changes. Scale again. The smoke lingers at ankle height now. Light steadies. You have not moved. That immobility reads as certainty. Certainty without arrogance attracts trust from those who matter. Those who matter notice before they speak. Before they speak, they decide. Decisions made early ripple outward quietly. You feel the ripple, not as excitement, but as confirmation. Confirmation does not inflate you, it grounds you. Grounded power holds. Held power endures. Endurance outlasts storms that drown louder forces. The terrain continues to adjust around your presence and you remain calibrated, contained, unreadable. A steady axis in a room that keeps reorganizing itself around calm that does not ask to be seen, yet cannot be ignored. The room finally exhales. Not relief. Acceptance. Acceptance that some forces do not need escalation. They arrive already calibrated. You feel it settle into the walls, the floor, the air itself. A quiet acknowledgement that hierarchy has shifted without debate. This is where the misunderstanding usually happens. People think the story ends at recognition. It never does. Recognition is the entry point. not the destination. What follows is responsibility that does not ask if you are ready. It assumes you are. Because readiness was never emotional, it was structural. You built yourself in layers, stress-tested, reinforced where others cracked. When pressure increased, you did not rise emotionally. You descended strategically. Depth beats height. Height attracts attention. Depth survives impact. You chose depth. That choice explains everything. The commander's hand, the silence, the absence of questions. Questions are for uncertainty. You removed uncertainty through consistency. Consistency under pressure creates trust faster than brilliance ever could. Brilliance flashes. Consistency endures. Endurance reshapes futures quietly. This is the final extraction, clean and uncompromised. Rule: never outsource your internal order to external conditions. Mindset: darkness is disciplined clarity, not chaos. Principle: those who master themselves force the world to adjust. No anthem plays, no curtain falls, just a steady continuation of movement forward, unseen by crowds, undeniable to those who know what to look for. Smoke dissipates, light evens out. You remain composed, unannounced, unhurried. A presence that does not chase moments because moments already orbit you.